We've just entered a brand new arc in One Piece, and I have a pretty good idea of what this arc is going to look like. Hi, I'm Vagabond Kana. Before we start the video, make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe as well. Come and join the Vagabond's journey. You might as well just get that out the way while you can, you know? So with the arrival of the Straw Hats at EggHead Island, it's no secret that we'll be dealing with a lot of different technological advancements throughout the One Piece world. This has led me to believe that this is the arc in which Oda will cover the punk genre. And no, I'm not talking about punk rock. I'm talking about the punk setting. Punk genres are really defined by taking the technology of a given time period and basically going crazy with it. And they're often about rebellion and social alienation and fighting back against the government. Which is actually quite funny because EggHead Island is actually owned by the world government. There it goes again, matching the themes of One Piece. So with my assumption that this will have a punk genre in it, the question still remains, which punk genre? That, ladies and gentlemen, is what I am here to answer. Now, I'll be going over a few punk genres, not all of them because that's way too much, but just a good few, and then I'll choose what's more likely for this arc to have in it. Starting off with our first one, we have Cyberpunk. Arguably the most popular punk genre out of all the punk genres. This genre takes place in a more futuristic setting. So basically you have flying cars, neon lights, everything to make it seem futuristic and vibrant and bright. Some good examples of this would be Akudama Drive, if you've ever seen that, Cyberpunk 2077, I know you've heard of that, and Alita Battle Angel, which I don't care what anyone says, that movie was great, and I want a second one. Seriously, the best live-action anime manga adaptation I've ever seen in my life. But anyways, there's a huge possibility that Cyberpunk could make its way into EggHead Island. Some people may find the Cyberpunk genre to be a little bit too extreme for One Piece's standards, but then again, it's One Piece. It's a fantasy world. You can put literally anything into it, and Oda has been putting everything into it. All different types of things. So the cyberpunk genre may not be too extreme for One Piece. We may just see that in the next coming chapters. For our next one, we have Steampunk, the second most popular of the punk genre. This one tends to have a little bit more retro futuristic technology, inspired of the Victorian era. Good examples of this would be the movie Treasure Planet and the show Arcane. Seriously, if you have not seen Arcane, stop the video. Matter of fact, like the video first, subscribe, then stop the video, then leave, then go watch Arcane. At least watch the first 3 episodes. If you don't care about it then okay, fine. I get it. But after those first 3 episodes, you definitely need to just continue watching it and just finish it. It's freaking good. A 10 out of 10 in my book. I don't care. But anyways, back to what I was saying. I actually believe that Steampunk would be highly likely for this to be in EggHead Island. Let's keep in mind that Lindbergh, the cat mink, actually exists, and he is inspired off of like a steampunk style of dressing. So I actually wouldn't be surprised if Lindbergh actually came from EggHead Island at some point or went to EggHead Island at some point. Maybe that's far-fetched, maybe I'm wrong, we'll find out soon enough, but I honestly think that Steampunk would be a very good contender to be the aesthetic of EggHead Island. And lastly, we have one of my favorites. Honestly, I've got a bias for this one, I'm not gonna lie. But we have Decopunk. Decopunk is centered around the Art Deco. This art style was popular during the 1920s and stayed in fashion until probably around like the 1950s. I love this idea. Could you imagine, just imagine, right? The Straw Hats walk into some building, right? And all of a sudden, they just see a bunch of people dancing with swing music and everything. They got it's like a bunch of smoke in the air because of cigarettes and cigars and whatnot. And they're all wearing like nice suits and ties. And they're just in there going crazy. That would be beautiful, phenomenal. I want all of that. I want all of that. You know what's funny is that Capone Beige is actually based off of that style, which I mean, he probably won't even be in this arc, I'm gonna be honest. I think we, saw most of what we're gonna see of him back in Whole Cake Island. He's more than likely gonna appear later, but probably not here. It'd be cool if he did, but probably not here. But you can find examples of Decopunk through, well, I guess you could say BioShock Infinite. I can't really think of any others, but BioShock Infinite is the best example. I also hear that the BioShock games are more of a Dieselpunk, specifically the first 2 BioShock games, which Dieselpunk basically a subset of Decopunk. Dieselpunk being more of a combination of World War I or World War II styles, more militaristic type styles is what Dieselpunk is. Decopunk is a little bit less of that, but it's around the same time period and takes some of the similar styles away from each other. But don't get me wrong, Dieselpunk can definitely be in Egghead Island. I just don't find it that likely, but the possibility is there. Also, fun fact, but another subset of Decopunk would also be Atompunk, which is basically the Fallout series. I just felt like throwing that out there. I definitely don't think Atompunk will be a part of it though. But the interesting thing about Decopunk, like I said before, Decopunk was really a style around the time of the 1910s to the 1950s. During the 1920s, that is when rubber hose animation began. So that's back in the days where you had Steamboat Willie with Mickey Mouse, Popeye, the crazy rubbery animation that you would see in the old school animations. Which also happens to be a big inspiration for how Oda draws his manga. If you haven't noticed, One Piece is a very cartoony manga, and rubber hose animation is the inspiration for Gear 5 Luffy. Just imagine it, Gear 5 cartoony goofy Luffy in a Decopunk style area. He will literally be at home in his environment. Now will Oda actually do this? Only time will tell. But if Oda does this, this will be one of the sexiest things you've ever done in the story, period. Please make my dreams come true, Oda, please. So there you have it. Our 3 contenders right there are Cyberpunk, Steampunk, and Decopunk. Now, which one do I think is going to be the aesthetic of Egghead Island? Well, all 3 of them. Think about it. Oda does this thing where he mixes different genres and different things together all the time in his arcs. Take, for example, Thriller Bark. They had ghosts, they had zombies, they had crazy mad scientists that messed with dead bodies in order to create Frankenstein-like things. They had all types of stuff. And take Whole Cake Island, for example. Whole Cake Island was basically just Disney. Disney and all the things they did. Whole Cake Island reminded me a lot of Alice in Wonderland, Little Mermaid. They even have a guy named Aladdin. Then you have Wano, for example, where you have your samurai, ninja, yakuza, yokai, dragons, all types of crazy stuff. He hit a lot of points that you would see in Japanese literature, folklore, and all types of stuff. So it's not too far-fetched to assume that Oda could quite possibly just mix the genres together. I could see that happening. The genre of Steampunk, Cyberpunk, and Decopunk. Matter of fact, I could see Oda doing a sort of thing where there are different districts. So you have your Steampunk district, then you have your Decopunk district, then you could have the more advanced and more rich district, the Cyberpunk district. Egghead Island may be a good arc to really showcase all of Vegapunk's creations and how he's progressed over time. I just can't see Oda doing one simple style or reference and just sticking with that. You know what would be hilarious though? Is if Oda went another route of punk and he actually did Now Punk. Now Punk is basically today, it's present day. So Now Punk would involve people texting on their cell phones, social media, Tesla cars, Netflix, and OnlyFans. That would be absolutely hilarious, but I really don't think he's going to do that. But yes, that's what I think. I think it's going to be a mixture of Cyberpunk, Steampunk, and Decopunk. I really hope Decopunk makes it in there. But I'm pretty darn sure we're at least getting Steampunk. At the very least, we are definitely getting Steampunk. So yeah, make sure you guys like and subscribe. Let me know what you think of the video, and Let me know, what's your favorite punk genre, and what punk genre do you think is going to make it in Egghead Island? But with all that being said, Vagabond gone.